Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what will remain when I am no longer here? What will I be remembered for? Who will I be remembered as? Today's conversation is a heart stirrer. It's one we don't have often because it touches on something deep, something final, something real. We're talking about legacy. Not just the kind that is written in wheels, carved in stones, or shouted from stages, but it's the kind that is whispered in memories, the kind that lives quietly in the people we've touched. It's not about fear. This episode is about intention. Welcome back to Random Talk with NG. I am Ngozi Obiefuna. Let's dive into this reflection of what will outlive you. Let's dive into it together. When people hear the word legacy, their minds go to grand things. And by grand things, I mean buildings, billionaire donations, family empires, structures, statues, being remembered in history books. But I think I want to challenge that today. Legacy isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's invisible, but it's deeply felt. Legacy is the invisible thread your life leaves behind. It's the values you pass down, even without words. It's the decision not to give up because someone was watching you quietly survive. It's the phone call you returned, the apology you gave, the forgiveness you offered, even when it wasn't asked for. Now, here's the truth: you're already leaving a legacy right now in real time. Legacy is being written in how you treat your colleagues, how you respond to family, how you handle failure, how you respond to people who can't benefit you, how you show up on the days when you don't feel like it. And that's both beautiful and sobering because it means you don't have to wait to be powerful, rich, or ready to be impactful. Now, think about the small things that last forever. What actually comes to mind? When we think about legacy, we often overlook the small things because we are so focused on the physical or the material things, which are the things that are easily pronounced, right? But have you ever remembered a compliment someone gave you years ago? Have you ever felt healed because someone listened without judgment? Have you ever changed your mind about life because someone shared a quiet story of hope? Those are legacies. Think about it. A teacher who spoke life into you when you felt invisible. I talk about my friend who encouraged me to start a podcast even when I did not think I was ready. A friend who showed up when everyone else backed off. I talk about my friends, my support system, my family every single time I can because of how well and how often they've showed up for me in times when I needed support. Also, think about a stranger whose random act of kindness restored your faith in people. Some people may disagree with me on this, but then when you watch those videos on Instagram, any form of social media platform where you see people like Ashakin and there is this other guy, MD Motivator in the US, when they're trying to help out people they do not know, random people with whatever issues they are going through. It's more like a stranger whose random act of kindness restored your faith in people. Those who do it without the cameras, right? They are the people who just pay for someone's transport fare, who just says, "Oh, don't worry, I'll just complete it. Oh, don't worry, let me handle this for you. Oh, don't worry, I'll help you out with this." Those are legacies. Now we've listened to all this. I would like us to flip it. Who are you in someone else's story? Who might be quoting your kindness years from now? I went out with my dad one time and then he happened to meet someone from his hometown or from our hometown. And then the person recognized him. I said, "Oh, I remember that your father did this to me. Your father showed me this great kindness. He put me through without asking for a dime in a situation where others were asking for money." And my dad said he does not even know what the man was talking about. And then the man said, "Oh, you were just about 10 years old or something." at that time. Imagine my dad's surprise because my dad was over 50 at that time. The man still remembered that act of kindness that was shown to him long, long ago. Now, who might find courage in your decision to speak up, walk away, start again, or forgive? I would love to say that the best podcasts that I have recorded are the ones that I have not posted. The one on one podcast session, I call them mini podcast series. When I'm chatting with someone reaches out to me to say, what are your thoughts on this? And then I send them voice notes, I send them audio recordings of what I think about it. And then the feedback I get is, oh, thank you. I'm going to try it this way. I remember someone telling me that because of me, she found her voice to start her own podcast. And I felt so elated. I felt good. I felt like, oh, I'm able to make an impact in people's lives. I remember speaking to someone about personal finance, and then 6 months later, this young lady walks up to me and she says, thank you. I'm able to save better. I'm able to invest better now, because she felt like her salary was not enough. But I tried to let her know that start from where you are, start from there. That's more than enough. And then she was so happy, she was so grateful, and she has made progress ever since then. So the question I have for you is, who might find courage in your decision to speak up, walk away, start again, or forgive? Now, I've given examples of instances where I was the one who gave the word. I've received words from people. I've had my friends talk to me, try to help me in reinventing myself, try to help me in making better decisions. I always tell a friend of mine, Ola, that he has made so much impact in my life. When I go for sessions, mentorship sessions, or sessions where I have to talk to people that are still undergraduate or graduates, I tell them about my friend Ayo and how Ayo has impacted in my life professionally, because he has added so much value. And for that, it's a legacy he has left imprinted in my heart. So we often underestimate our ripple, but someone somewhere is being shaped by your presence, even when you don't realize it. Legacy isn't about control, it's actually about consistency. It's not about being seen, it's actually about being felt. So let's be honest, talking about legacy makes people uncomfortable because it feels too final, too deep, or maybe even too serious. You would hear people say, hey, there's still a lot of time. But here is the irony. We think about legacy all the time. We just don't call it that. We worry about being liked, being remembered, being respected, being missed, and that's legacy. So why do we avoid this real conversation? I think because it forces us to pause, to evaluate, to ask hard questions like, am I really living by my values, or am I just surviving? Am I proud of the way I treat people? If I died today, would I be at peace with what I gave the world yesterday? I know we don't like hearing stuff about death. And sometimes the answers make us so uncomfortable. But here is the grace in all of this. Legacy isn't what you did, it is what you are doing right now. And that means it's not too late to start. Every new day is a new paragraph in your legacy story. You get to edit, you get to rewrite, and you get to realign. So let's make it real. What does it look like to live a legacy driven life intentionally? In my research, I have come to find out that there are 5 habits of legacy minded people. I'm interested in hearing the other habits you may have. The first is that they live aligned and not just accomplished. It's not just about them chasing success. They don't just chase success, they chase substance. They ask, does this reflect who I want to be? You need to sometimes sit back and think, this thing that I'm doing, this thing I want to do, does it actually reflect who I want to be? Now, they also invest in people and not just platforms. They mentor, they call, they encourage, they show up, they make time for what and who truly matters. It's not enough to say that you are being a mentor, or that you're a mentor, the truth of the matter is, do you find time to invest in people? And when I'm talking about invest in people, it's not necessarily financially. Do you invest in people with what you share with them, with the knowledge you pass on to them? Do you make time for what and who truly matters? Another thing with people who are legacy minded is that they are consistent in character. They are not perfect though, but they are reliable. They are the same person on stage, at home, and in private. So if you see the person being kind outside, you would know that, oh, the person is not just being kind because it's eye service or the person just wants to be noticed. No, this person, wake the person up at 2 a.m., explain what your problem is, they would still exhibit that level of kindness. That's because they are consistent in character. Now, they pass on values, not just valuables. Everything to them is not about being materialistic. Money fades. What lasts is the integrity, wisdom, and the faith you pass on through how you lived. Think about some of the politicians in some countries that may have lived corrupt lives, or that may have shown, in quote, shege to their constituent. When they die, what kind of comments do you hear people say? What kind of legacy do you think they've left behind? Because, I mean, apart from the money, remove the money, nothing good is said about some of them. So, what kind of legacy are you building? Because without the money, without the materialistic stuff you have, without the valuables you have, who are you? What do you think it is going to be said of you? Well, some people will say they don't necessarily care after they are dead and gone. But what legacy, what value are you leaving behind? And finally, what I want to share is they create without applause. Some people do not do things because they want you to notice them. Some people do not do things because they want you to see that, yes, so I'm trying to leave a good legacy behind for the people around me. But they do the right thing, not for claps, not for likes and retweets, but because it's who they are. The most powerful legacies are not always recognized, but they are always remembered. So today I would like to charge us to ask ourselves, what am I planting today that someone else might harvest tomorrow? I remember when I gained admission into the university in my 100 level, and then I was assigned to a room. And then one of my roommates at that time, she was being so nasty to me, and I really did not understand why. And then she was acting all mean, and I just left the room and I went to cry, and I was not happy. And then I went to report to the hall representatives to tell them that, or to tell her that this is what has happened. And then she said, oh, she was going to deal with the matter. So we went back to the room, they settled the issue. And then when I was about to climb my bed, I noticed that this mean roommate of mine was with a drawing board. And the drawing board that she was with was the one that my elder sister had given to her free of charge before leaving the university. And she was like, I asked her, do you know this person? She said, oh, that she does not know how, that the lady was leaving school, and then she just asked the lady that, please, can you give me this drawing board? I need it for stuff and I'm not able to afford any at the moment. And that the lady just gave it to her without even selling it to her, and that God bless her wherever she is. And I said, oh, really? This person in question is my elder sister. And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Can you imagine? And I was mean to you. And in my head, I'm like, well, your first impression, or my first impression of you, is gonna last longer than you can imagine, because you did my head already. You already showed me shaggy. Well, she spent time, the remaining time she spent in school, we tried to live as human beings. But then imagine that kind of person. But then imagine, when I think about that person, I remember the good, the bad, and the ugly that I saw or that I faced in her hand. She has left different kinds of legacies with me. And so you remember that the most powerful legacies are not always recognized, but they are always remembered. We do not necessarily remember people, what they have, but most times we remember how they made us feel. And that is legacy. So ask yourself again, what am I planting today that someone else might harvest tomorrow? So let's pause here, take a deep breath, and sit with this question. What part of you will still be here when you are no longer here? And maybe more importantly, what kind of life are you living that is worth remembering? Because legacy isn't a destination, it's a direction. You are a living legacy. You're already shaping stories that will be told when you're no longer in the room. So, live intentionally, speak kindly, love deeply, and leave something eternal. Thank you for walking through this reflection with me on Random Talk with Angie. If this episode stirred something in you, as I call it a heart stirring episode, please share it with someone. Let it be the start of a new legacy conversation. And as always, I would love to hear from you. Email me at randomtalkwithangie@gmail.com or connect with me on Instagram or TikTok at Random Talk with Angie. Until next time, live truthfully, be present, and leave footprints that matter.